Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We're going to get going. Going to get started here. Good evening and welcome to the Town of Barnstable Planning Board meeting for February 12th, 2024. My name is Steve Robichaud. We're meeting here at Barnstable Town Hall, 367 Main Street, Hyannis, Mass. In the James H. Crocker Jr. Hearing Room. We're on the second floor, and it is 7 p.m. This meeting, the meeting notice has been previously filed with the town clerk in accordance with Mass General Law. All application materials may be accessed through the Planning Board website or by contacting Karen Pina at karen.pina@town.barnstable.ma.us or calling 508-862-4064. At this time, I will call this evening's meeting to order, and we'll introduce board members and staff, starting with Matthew.
Matt Haig, good evening.
Michael.
Good evening, Michael Messinas.
Bob.
Evening, Bob Twist.
Tim.
Good evening, Tim O'Neill.
Jim.
Good evening, Jim Kupfer, Assistant Director, Planning and Development.
And Karen.
Good evening, Karen Pina, Administrative Assistant, Planning and Development.
Great, thank you all. And again, my name is Steve Robichaud. Notice of recording, the meeting will be televised live via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access live stream at the Town of Barnstable website, streaming85.townofbarnstable.us/cablecast public site. And we will now start with any general public comment this evening. This is public comment not related to an agenda item this evening. Just any general public comment. If anybody has it, please come forward at this time to the podium. Seeing none, we will move to our first agenda item this evening, which is a special permit. This is special permit number 2024-01. Wynn Development Company, LP Beals and Thomas, Inc. has submitted a special permit application to support redevelopment of 307 Main Street, Hyannis. That's map 327, parcel 103. And this item is continued from our January 22nd, 2024 meeting. We have an open public hearing. And if the applicant could please step forward, introduce your name for the record, and give us a summary. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Robert Brennan, attorney representing Wynn Development. And thank you again for the continuance that was granted at the last hearing. Originally, this special permit application was filed with regard to parking. Since that time, Wynn requested formally under Chapter 48, Section 7, a zoning interpretation from the building commissioner. Received that from the building commissioner, and just want to read two sections from it. I believe the board is in receipt of that zoning interpretation as well. It includes a statement: I determined, as the duly appointed zoning enforcement officer and site plan review chairman of the town of Barnstable, that the use of compact spaces in the downtown Hyannis zoning districts is permitted and is consistent with the zoning ordinance. Continues, after consultation with the town's attorney as well as my review of the zoning ordinance, I determined that the proposal was consistent with zoning and therefore the matter was deemed by me to be appropriate for site plan review purposes. Mr. Chair, I'd like to submit both the request and the response that was received from Mr. Florence into the record, if I could.
That would be great. Thank you, sir. We will take those and add those to the record. We are in receipt of those, and we have read and reviewed them. Thank you, sir.
And with that, Wynn Development would be withdrawing its application for special permit.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Any board members object to this withdrawal? Okay, we'd look for a motion to accept the withdrawal.
I move we accept the withdrawal of the special permit as presented.
Thank you, Matthew. In a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Michael. All those in favor? Matthew?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
And myself, Steve Robichaud, votes aye.
Thank you.
Matter withdrawn. Thank you, sir. Yep, absolutely. All right, just pass those to Jim. We'll get those included with the record. And we'll move on to our next agenda item this evening. Moving along, we have staff updates. Jim, if you'd like to give us an update on the local comprehensive plan. I believe the group met the other day.
Absolutely, yes. The group is actually trying to meet twice a month now to move the process along. We heard that loud and clear from the committee, as well as some of the general public, hoping to get the plan process moving quicker. So we are meeting twice a month when available. On February 8th, the committee did meet and discussed natural resources. They had a gentleman, Andrew Gottlieb, from Association to Preserve Cape Cod, who presented on kind of regional matters, followed by our Natural Resources Division. And a special thanks to Nina, Amy, and Chris from the division. They did a phenomenal job, I think, in kind of laying out the local concerns and the issues at hand for natural resources. The next meeting will be on February 22nd, where they continue to discuss natural resources chapter and goal-setting activities at that meeting.
Good stuff. Thank you, Jim. And one thing that just came to mind, Bob, I know you're on that board, and if you were so inclined and we had a slow meeting agenda, would love a little bit of a more detailed presentation you and Jim could work on, if you wanted. Just an idea. I'm curious myself, and I haven't watched all the meetings, so if you feel so inclined.
You're not talking about right now, are you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is way off in the future, if you feel so inclined. Just putting it out there.
At some future meeting, I'll be happy to give an overview of my perspective as a member, my own personal view, not speaking for the committee, as to how we're doing and where we're going.
I think that would be great and very valuable to this board, so I appreciate that. Just going to note that we are in receipt of 3 items of correspondence for this meeting. One is from Chris Kuhn, dated Monday, February 12th, and it is in regard to 307 Main Street. Eric Schwab, January 19th, 2024, also in regard to 307 Main Street. And the final item is from January 16th, also in regard to, well, it says 367 Main Street, but I believe they were talking about 307 Main, from Amanda Converse. So those 3 items were received and distributed to the board. Approval of minutes, looking for approval for the January 2nd, 2024 draft minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of January 22nd, 2024.
Thank you, Tim. And a second?
So moved.
Thank you, Bob. All those in favor? Matthew?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
And myself, Steve Robichaud, votes aye. Minutes are approved. Future meetings, February 26th and March 11th, 2024, here at Town Hall at 7 p.m.
Mr. Chairman, real quick, I just want to
Please.
confirm everyone's availability for February 26th. I know we have a few members who've already stated they will not be in attendance. I know we have at least one item already on the agenda.
Yes, we do. It's a preliminary subdivision plan, so we want to have as many members as we can present. I know Mary and Ray will not be in attendance, so anybody here have any issues with those 2 meetings?
I will not be, Mr. Chairman, I'll not be here on the 22nd.
22nd of,
The next one, whenever.
the
that
next one,
is.
okay, 26th. Okay.
26th.
Matthew, Michael, you guys okay?
We're here, yeah. I'm okay,
All
I'll be
right,
here.
great. And Tim?
I'll be here.
Perfect. So we'll have 4, so we'll have what we need to get it done. Anything else from board members or staff? Matthew?
I have one thing briefly, which I wanted to bring up tonight. This is an issue that I've run into. I run into it every couple of years in various towns across the Cape. Some towns have a zoning bylaw that talks to the issue I'm about to talk about. Other ones do not. And the discussion is the concept of merger by zoning, right? And pre-existing non-conforming undersized lots that where their development rights get merged to an adjacent lot. As the minimum lot size increases, these lots get, even though you may physically have the title to it, if it was owned prior by another abutter at the time of the zoning change, and the zoning went from 20,000 to 40,000 square feet, that 6,000, 8,000, 9,000 square foot lot, its development rights will reside with the lot under which it was owned, the lot it was owned with at the time of the zoning change. There are hundreds of lots in this town, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I'm working on a project now. This came up, and this is one of my pet peeves in the zoning business. It really is, as we look towards reasonable ways to develop, and we've moved away from de facto restrictive zoning through Title V, right? As we're moving towards this parcel happens to be sewered. Right, so undevelopable, it's sewered, 8,300 square feet almost, right? I think the town should give strong consideration to removing that provision of the zoning bylaw, allowing existing lots to retain their buildability rights, as probably down to the 5,000 square foot range. I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable. I've worked on 39,000 square foot lots that don't get zoning rights because they've been merged to another lot, a 27,000 square foot lot, minimum lot size is 40,000 or 80,000 square feet. And these are perfectly good developable properties, which mythically lose the ability to be built on because somebody owned it at some time in the past. Now, ironically, this property, which is owned by my client in the project we're working on, ironically, he bought one in 2002, one in 2013, right? This lot abuts his, okay? In our discovery, we know now that those development rights on the vacant parcel are tied to a lot that he doesn't even own, right? So you not only could he not build on it, but he doesn't even have rights to it because it's merged to a lot that he has no ownership interest in. So if that's not contrary to rational thought, I'm not sure what is. And it's a very simple issue to solve. We may ruffle some feathers because I can tell you, in my personal experience, I'm sure there's hundreds of people who have come into town hall to build on a property they might have inherited or purchased or otherwise, only to find out that it's not developable because of this issue. And it's a great way to get more, smaller lots available. This is what the need is in terms of, our current housing need.
Right.
And it may free up a fair amount of reasonably sized properties for, starter homes, young families, that sort of thing. So I think it would be something to give some consideration to as we move forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And Jim, can you just outline, when you speak about a potential zoning change, I know we talked about this in the past, what the process is. Is that something that has to come from town council, or can that be put on an agenda by myself or a board member here?
Or it's another step where it starts here, goes to town council, comes
Yeah,
back to you.
yeah, I'm kind of curious. You need a sponsor? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you need a sponsor, one
From
of
town
which
council?
could be planning board, one of which can be, or town council petition by general public. There are some specificity in Mass General law as to who can petition zoning, and locally also there is we do look for a sponsor from town council as well.
Got it.
But that's certainly something that, we could have a workshop on and discuss if we would like to proceed with, and I'm happy to work on that with Matt and probably the building commissioner.
Maybe something we could talk about as part of the local comprehensive plan too, right? Smart land use techniques. We've got perfectly good lots we could use and put back into the inventory.
Right.
Right.
Why not? All you have to do is just erase the line in the zoning bylaw.
Sure. Yeah.
Those are my favorite types, right? Deregulate,
deletion.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, certainly, and from my standpoint, the value certainly seems like it would be there, especially if you can add those starter-type homes, for families in desperate need.
It's funny, there are some areas in the zoning that, I've come across professionally that I think could use some homework and some cleanup, and then there's, lacking some definitions in areas, and it's made it difficult working with some existing structures that are pre-existing non-conforming in some of the definitions around it. And some of it butts into what Matt's talking about with the, lot protection. And it's also tricky because, to Matt's point, the thing that trips those up is non-logical at some point. When the lots merge because of zoning, because they're held in common ownership, I think that's actually goes back up to a state law, but a lot of people get tripped up in mistakes. They don't realize that is happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely something we should continue to chat about and work on. So thank you both. Good stuff. Anything else anybody has, board or staff, before we look for adjourn? Okay.
I'll move I'll enter a motion to adjourn.
Excellent. And a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Michael. All those in favor? Matthew?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
And myself, Steve Robichaud, votes aye. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.